So what's happening today? I am tackling pita bread. I've never made homemade pita bread before, but I am tackling that, and I happen to have all the ingredients. I am actually making it with a mill, so I'm using wheat berries. So I already have my whole wheat berries in here, and it's going to be a little noisy here. But look at this beautiful, freshly milled grain from wheat berries. And I have my sugar, and I have my yeast. And so let's put that all together. And I want my dough hook. So I've added 1.5 cups flour, about that, and my yeast and my sugar. And I'm going to stir that briefly. And then we're going to let that proof for 15 minutes, and I'll be back. So as you can see, this looks nice and bubbly. I'm going to add my salt, my olive oil, and then I'm going to add the flour a little bit at a time. I do have one of these. If you have one, this is really nice to use. It keeps the flour from flying all over the place as you add it. So I'm going to add just a cup to start with here and put it on number 1. You want to be careful not to add too much. You want it so that it's just pulling in from the sides of your bowl. You don't want it to end up dry. So we add just a little at a time. And I'm going to cheat. If I end up needing more, I'm not going to mill more. I'm going to actually get my whole white wheat flour that I bought 5 pounds from the store. I'm going to get that out now just in case I need it. And if you're a Folgers person, these containers, this is the decaf one. I have the red and the green. I have a red one that's like really high. But these are nice for storing things like this. So this is my store-bought whole wheat flour, whole wheat white flour. I think that's what it's called. And I'm going to add 2 more times here. See what it gets to. Okay, that is all I have of this. And like I said, for the rest, I'm not going back to my mill and take up that time. I'm just going to go ahead and use this if I need it. I'm going to stir it up a little bit so it's not packed down. And it does look like I need more. So I'm going to go like about 1/4 of a cup at a time. This is a 1/2 cup, but so I have it about half full. Okay, about another 1/4 of a cup. And while that's mixing up, I'm going to, this is my flour bowl, I'm going to prepare it, grease it a little bit because my dough is going to come out into here for its rise. And when I work with whole wheat milled, freshly milled flour, the recipe I use only calls for 1 rise, which actually is really nice. Saves me a lot of time. I'm going to lock this in the back. There's a little lock mechanism back here. Okay, it is getting there. It's starting to pull away from the sides. I'm going to set the timer for about 5 minutes and knead it at this, because it just looks like it's just right. Now, the last time I used my KitchenAid to bake bread, I was making actual bread, not wheat pita bread, and I had probably about twice this amount, at least twice. And my motor began to get like smelled hot, burning. So I'm hoping we're good this time and it doesn't happen. There are better mixers. This is a step up above the bottom level of the KitchenAid mixer. Okay, my 5 minutes is up. Let's unlock it. Oh, I hope it's not too sticky. But a little sticky is okay. Okay, so this is it. I'm gonna just kind of pat it a little bit and put it in my greased bowl. Okay, and I'm gonna roll it around so that it gets greasy on all sides. And then I'm going to cover it with a tea towel, a very light tea towel. I don't use plastic anymore. I think that needs a wee bit more grease. I really like this. I found this at Big Lots for, I think it was under $5. And I put it on the back of my stove. I have a ledge on the back of my stove, so it's handy. I don't have to take a lid off or anything. Okay, so let's just work that around a little bit more. Make sure it's greasy enough. We don't want it to dry out. Like I said, I don't use plastic wrap anymore. I use these tea towels I found at IKEA. If you're ever near an IKEA, I know there's one out in the Pittsburgh area, north of Pittsburgh, and in the Philadelphia area. I found these for like under $1 each. I purchased several. They're just the right thickness. They're thin, they dry real well, they're absorbent, and they wash nicely, and they're the perfect thing to cover up your dough. So we're going to cover up our dough, and let me set the timer for 45 minutes. Now what I did was I put my oven on at 200 degrees and then turned it off, and now it's sitting in there, my bowl is sitting in there with the door mostly open, so it's not too hot. And as the heat dissipates from the oven, I might close it just to keep in a wee little bit of heat. The other thing you can do is if you're heating your oven, you can just, while it's heating up, you can actually put your bread or whatever you're making, your dough, on top of your stove and cover it with your cloth. And during the time that it was kneading, it gave me enough time to clean up. I like to clean up as I go and not have a big mess at the end. So that 5 minutes of kneading was perfect for me to just wash up the dishes that had gotten dirty and clean up around and wipe everything off. So we will be back after 45 minutes. My dough is rising, and I just wanted to share a couple things with you. When it's finished rising, I'm going to form them into golf-sized balls to make the individual pita breads. And I'm going to put them out on one of these. I don't know if you've ever seen these Silpat mats, but they're really nice. I think they're made of maybe silicone or something like that. They're really nice for things not to get sticky and easy cleanup. And I wanted to show you something I made yesterday. I made some salt-free seasoning. And I made this one. This is repurposed. This says cayenne, but it's not really cayenne. This is my milder salt-free seasoning. And then I made one in here. I think this used to be a big garlic container. And I like to repurpose things. So I washed it and dried it. And this is a little bit more of a zesty salt-free alternative. So that's what I made yesterday, and I'm pretty excited. I think they taste really good. For those of you, for some reason, who have to be on a lower salt diet, they're good. I'll be back. Okay, so we are back with our risen dough, and I am going to make 12 golf-sized balls. Let's see. Okay, so I have them divided up into 12, and I'm going to just kind of make them nice and smooth. and then roll them out. And what we're going to do is cook them or bake them for 2 minutes on one side, and then flip them and do 2 minutes on the other side. And the oven is set to 450. And I just heard it buzz, so it is preheated. I don't know whether I should be smoothing these out more or if what I'm doing is going to work. So, okay, let's set these all over here and go ahead and make them into, I believe it's 8-inch circles. I have one of these. Did you ever see one of those? Here it is. I wonder if I did miss some instructions. I thought I read them carefully enough, but you never know. There's nothing like homemade bread. And especially if it's 100% whole wheat, because even when you buy at the store, when you find 100% whole wheat, which I've done many times, I'm kind of a newbie at doing what I'm doing here. I've done bread off and on over the years, but I'm trying to do it more, definitely more. Okay, here's another one, and I'm not worrying if it's exactly perfect. I can fit 3 on this pan that I have here. But even when you buy the 100% whole wheat bread, what you end up with, if you look at the ingredients, is all kinds of added things that you don't want, like preservatives and who knows what. So with this you're getting the whole grain, because you've milled it yourself, you're getting it completely fresh, which is exciting, and it has more nutrients when you do it that way. I'm not worrying if it's perfect, but okay, I have the 3 that fit on this pan, and I'm going to sit them in for 2 minutes and see what happens. Here's what they look like. One side done. And they definitely aren't going to have the pockets, but that's all right. Okay, 2 more minutes, and I'm going to keep making these. And when they come out, you're supposed to put them into a paper towel lined bowl, but I happen to have a tortilla container, so that's what I'm going to use. And I have like 16 more seconds. Let's see what happens here. Okay, here they are. They're going into my tortilla container. Okay, there's my first 3 in my tortilla keeper. And they are, whoops, that one broke. Okay, well, it broke, so I can show you. They certainly don't have that opening, and I don't know how to create that opening, but they're still going to taste good. And let's try one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Very good. They taste good. They're healthy. And man, with the prices nowadays, they have to be way cheaper. I'm getting these ready for the Super Bowl tomorrow. Well, when this airs, it'll be after the Super Bowl. I'm not putting this out till next week. But at the time of my recording right now, it is the day before the Super Bowl. And who is in the Super Bowl? Well, now that the Vikings are out, I didn't pay so much attention. But I have a feeling that it could be, am I right? Is it Kansas City and Philadelphia? That's what I'm thinking. But I could be wrong. Homemade hummus, if you've ever made it, is really easy to make. You just take 2 cans of chickpeas and tahini and olive oil and cumin and salt and garlic, I think maybe, and olive oil, and mix it up in a food processor, or if you have a blender that's strong enough, you can use that. So here is the finished product. Here's my hummus and my pita bread. We're all set for the Super Bowl, and by now you'll know who won. Well, thanks for joining me. This is Know and Grow. You can't live what you don't know. And at the end, I opened my oven and I smelled something funny, and you know what was in there? One of my hot pads. So, hey, I don't know, is that what happens when you start getting old? We don't know. But anyway, thanks for joining me. I will put links in the advertisement that I put on Facebook, because there I can put all kinds of links, and you can't do that on Instagram. But again, thanks for joining me, and come back next time. Love you. Bye-bye.